Hello, and welcome to Natural Grocer's virtual nutrition education class. And now for our class today, I am pleased to introduce our speaker, Barbara Swanson. Barbara is a nutrition researcher and consultant. She is the author of Beyond Foods, the Handbook of Functional Nutrition. Today, Barbara will be discussing how to winterize your body. And now I will turn it over to Barbara.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. And I just want to reiterate how grateful I am to Natural Grocers for providing this kind of really exceptional education that encompasses many viewpoints. It really is empowering, and I just appreciate that. So today we're going to talk about why and how to winterize your body. So winter is the season of giving, the season for family and friends and joy. It's also the season for overeating and overdrinking, overspending, and often financial stress. It is definitely a season for emotional ups and downs as we handle our family. It's the I'm a couch potato because it's cold, raining, snowing, sleeting, yucky outside season. And this year we're dealing not only with sore throats, colds, and the flu season, but also real valid concerns about winter becoming a second COVID-19 season. All of the above add up to winter being the season where you need to plan a strategy to stay healthy. Hoping that someone is not contagious is not a strategy. It's a hope. So let's get right into some tips for a healthy winter season. Tip number one, what you eat once a week isn't a problem. It's what you eat every day that counts. This is so important to remember in winter because we will have days of feasting. There's Thanksgiving, there's the Yule season with whatever holiday you celebrate, and then New Year's Eve. You may indulge a few times, but unless you're indulging more than a couple of times a week at most, you should be able to stay steady on your dietary goals. This is a very important concept to understand. We have a tendency to focus on what we've done wrong and forget about what we're doing right. And we really want to stay focused on what we're doing right so that we don't berate ourselves and get into a habit of thinking it's too late to change because I had a cheat day. So this may look like somebody's spread, but this is what you want to eat every day. You can have as much of the other spread as long as on the other days you're eating these whole nutrient-dense, rich foods. Tip number two is to include power foods and probiotics in your diet. They do help to balance the high level of toxicity that we encounter in today's world. And especially during the winter, we are in recirculated air, often with a lot of other people around us as we work or shop. Now, this has changed a bit since COVID-19. However, the concern about being around people is perhaps even more. All of this means we're exposed to more bugs with less fresh air and oxygen. So toxins can build up even if it's not a disease. There's carbon monoxide, there is the indoor of buildings that can have toxins that leach out from the carpeting or even the wall paint. So these can add to the stress that leads to seasonal colds and flu. Adding superfoods and probiotics really help your bodies to maximize their function during the stress of these conditions. The kinds of superfoods I'm talking about are going to be rich in antioxidants, which help you to fight free radical damage. They're going to be rich in mineral peptides. These are minerals bound to amino acids, which are proven to help support your filter system and your detoxification systems. Ancient foods, in particular, the fungi, sprouted plants, sprouted seeds, and any kind of safe algae, organic tested algae. These are particularly rich in those kinds of nutrients. Tip number three, move your body. Exercise does not have to be long, hard, or even in a gym. In fact, beginning this year, many gyms are now offering online classes, so you get the advantage of a class, but in the convenience of your home. And honestly, just take a walk whenever you have an extra 10 minutes, and I would say maybe even 5 minutes around the block, in your yard, up and down a set of stairs at home or at work, or even just shopping in the mall. All of that movement adds up to better oxygenation, and that adds up to better health. So 6 ways to burn off calories in the winter. Shoveling snow. These are 30-minute estimates. 180 calories. Ice skating, tobogganing, skiing, walking in the snow. Walking in the rains probably actually burns even more because you get wet, and wet makes you colder. And then even Christmas shopping will burn calories. So movement, it's all about moving your body. Tip number 5, manage the natural stress of this season. Humans do very poorly when they try to manage behavior via denial. Anybody who's been on a diet and failed has experienced this, but it is true in any of our behaviors. Denial sets up a system in the brain where the brain is always feeling like it has to make up for something, and that leads to breaking your behaviors that you're trying to change. So enjoy holiday meals, enjoy holiday parties, enjoy your family, even the crazy ones. But remember, you are important and your health is in your hands. It's nobody else's responsibility, unless you're a child. So get the sleep you need, even if it means you're going to leave earlier than what you might call normal. If someone in your life is toxic to your health, well, minimize contact with them as much as you can. If you tend to overeat, have a great snack with a superfood before the meal, and you'll find that your appetite's a little different. If you tend to overdrink, find a sober buddy to help you get home, or to help you get home after your party. So manage your stress in your way. There's so many great self-help books out there. There are a plethora of YouTube videos on managing stress. There's Facebook groups on managing stress. There's books on managing stress. Whatever works for you, be it reading, watching, maybe joining a group and having some support, doing it on your own, but watching things or reading things. You want to manage stress in a way that feels good to you, because you won't do what you don't enjoy. So in conclusion, remember who you are. You are not just a daughter or a son or a wife or an employee or a boss. You have no obligation to hurt yourself in order to fulfill someone else's needs or expectations. Stay mindful of the joy of good habits and thank yourself each and every time you make a great choice. We have such a tendency in our society to really beat ourselves up when we do something we don't think we should, to focus on that almost to the exclusion of what we're doing right. And I would encourage you to turn that around and thank yourself every time you do something right. You'll all of a sudden start noticing how much you're doing that is right. And when you do something that maybe you would prefer you hadn't done, like eat a piece of cake or have a second drink, it won't necessarily throw you off balance as much. And that's less stress, and less stress is better health. And if you are going to indulge, do it consciously. Decide that you want that piece of pie or that drink, or that you want to buy that present for a special person, and then accept the consequences consciously. It's all okay as long as you stay in charge of your decisions. And the last tip is I want to go back and really stress that a little bit of the best superfoods plus enzymes and probiotics can make such a big difference. How we feel, how we act is really dependent on our state of health. And the more we have superfoods for basically filling our savings account in our body for health, the better we'll do under stress. All in all, I hope everybody has a joyful season. And did you have any questions for me today, Janine?
Yes, I have a few that came in. When you say or talk about power foods, what do you mean?
So I did talk a little bit about ancient foods. A power food for me in my functional nutrition description is a food that's going to offer a whole lot of micronutrients for not a whole lot of calories. So the reason I say it that way is, you know, a lot of people call almost anything a power food. They're going to call vegetables of any sort of power food. They're going to call berries of almost any sort of power food. Those are great foods. They're great antioxidants. They probably also have other vitamins and minerals. But a power food in particular is something that's extremely rich in a variety of micronutrients. So there'll be minerals, essential fatty acids, free-base amino acids. So free-based amino acids mean amino acids that aren't tied up in big, huge, long protein chains. And that makes them so much more bioavailable to the body. And there'll be a variety of plant nutrients like phytonutrients that can feed your brain, that can feed your nervous system. In particular, the fungi and the algae families tend to be rich in those type of nutrients. So that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, great. Thank you. So how do I know I'm getting a good probiotic?
Oh, such a great question. It's not just a matter of having a really high number. You'll see some probiotics will have 1 billion organisms, and some others will say 50 billion organisms, and some will have a single strain, and some will have 30 strains. It's a couple of different things. One is you need to find something that has colonizing forming organisms. So you need colony forming organisms, CFOs. There's a lot of probiotic bacteria, hundreds of them that are in a healthy gut, but they don't colonize the gut. So if you eat them every single day, that's great, but you're never actually colonizing bacteria that your body depends on. So you want colony forming bacteria.
Okay.
And the second thing is you want to take a look at the quality control if you can. This gets tricky. Quality control can be difficult to determine looking at a bottle on a shelf. I encourage people to go for products that are in particular certified to GMP standards. And I say certified, every single supplement out there is supposed to be produced according to GMP, but certification to GMP is a whole nother level that guarantees that what this person who created this product says is in the bottle is literally the only thing in the bottle. So that's my tip for finding a good probiotic.
Well, can someone just eat yogurt and get the probiotic that they need?
That's a great question again. I actually really do encourage people to eat live fermented foods like live sauerkraut, which will be in the refrigerated section, or kimchi or miso, and yogurt. However, even these great foods typically don't have the billions and billions of colony forming units that most people need, at least in the beginning of using probiotics. Most people don't really have very good gut balance in their gut ecosystem. So I do recommend using the supplement at least occasionally, if not regularly.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you so much, Barbara, for doing this and providing us with all this great information. It was really valuable. And I want to thank everyone for attending the Natural Grocers virtual nutrition education class. We will be offering these classes through the fall every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And then again, I want to thank you again, Barbara, and that'll be the end of this presentation.
Thank you.